Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Aurora. And welcome back to Let's Play Aurora 4X C#. So, I did decide to go ahead, as I mentioned last time, to go ahead and do that time skip while we waited for the our two heavy cruisers to be rebuilt, and we took that time to go ahead and do some refits as well, improving the shields that we have equipped further, as well as actually equipping shields to our escort frigates as well. So we have those refits done, with the exception of the Agordots themselves, because they actually haven't been refitted. But those refits should not take all that long. Because even though we retooled the shipyard, they were already queued up, so they were still being built to the previous specifications. So these will be done in December 8th, or, well, excuse me, on December 8th. Let's go ahead and get those done real quick. And then we can head out for what will hopefully be the final campaign against the aliens in GL Virginis. At the very least, that is the plan. I suppose we'll see if that ends up being true, however. During that time skip, we did actually have a couple of raiders attempt to attack our still not quite set up colony on Epsilon Indy. I will admit that we haven't done a great job of actually fully equipping our colonies. Many of them are running around with tons of available workers because it's just very time consuming to move mines and financial centers and the like to these planets, and so you just kind of don't. Yeah. It's kind of our issue, honestly. So, yeah, we need to try to find a way to take care of that. But we'll deal with that eventually, probably. Maybe not. But yeah, so we need to move a ton of mines, and Earth still has a ton of mines sitting on it. It's got, well, I say a ton, it's got 500 mines. It's not quite the ton that I was making it sound like, but nonetheless. You know, that is a fair few that could be shipped off to Mars that would further improve our Galsite production here, which certainly doesn't hurt. We need tons of Galsite for our missiles, especially when we're actively at war. Also, here in Epsilon India, they did have a Gatas pop up, but I sent one of our quick reaction forces out to try and find it again, but they were unsuccessful, so I brought it back home because it is a 50-day or so trip out to Epsilon Indy for our quick reaction forces, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't going to have a great time if it had tried to stay out there for longer. So brought it back home after doing a very basic patrol of Epsilon Indy A. Oh, whoops. Forgot the salvage fleet actually arrived. Okay, well, there's the refits. Those are fine, whatever. So, everything we got 25 centimeter ultraviolet lasers. That's, don't know why, but okay. Disassemble one of those. Okay, yeah, we are gaining stuff here because I don't think we have 25 centimeter lasers. That would be correct, yes. So let's disassemble all of those. Disassemble this just to see. Nope, nothing. Nope, nothing. Scrap it. Nothing, okay. Scrap it. You gotta, at least do one disassembly of any enemy tech just to see if they happen to have anything, even though, we can pretty safely guess the answer is no. For the most part, like, the exception is really just the missiles. Or not the missiles, the lasers. Which, I don't know who the hell had those lasers. Did we list... Did we update here to say which of these ships had the lasers? Because as far as I know, we didn't list any of these having lasers. Here we go. It is the Shayu. Okay. You have decent range on these. And quite a bit of damage, which would indicate that these are spinal mounted. These are apparently, were they far ultraviolet? Yeah, far ultraviolet. Ultraviolet. So, let's see. This was 37 damage, which is an advanced spinal mount. Pretty slow firing, apparently, at least in their case, with a rate of fire of 40, which would indicate a capacitor recharge rate of about 5. But it does have quite a bit of range. It does have quite a bit of range, yeah. Out to 1.85 million kilometers. But it's not going to do a ton of damage out that far, of course, It's going to do, like, damage of 1 if you're out at the outer edges. The other things are damage 16s, which would indicate they are standard mount. And again, we're looking at a capacitor recharge rate of 5 at best. And those have 800,000 kilometer range. So the enemies do outrange us in terms of their lasers, which isn't really a big deal. We're not, in our case, the lasers are more of a point defense that have the capability to secondary feature of being used against ships in an anti-ship capacity. But we're gonna, I think, generally be sticking with our 15 centimeter railguns. Thank you very much. They are just fine for what I need. In fact, realistically, I could probably do like 10 or 12 and be able to have more of them, but I kind of like the extra, like, that's a decent range increase going from 12 to 15. And 15 to 20 is also a decent range increase, but I don't think I need 700,000 kilometers, and it's an extra 50 tons per. Don't really care for that. It also means that I can't cheap out on our capacitor recharge. So, yeah. Which means I need a larger power plant, which I don't want. So, yeah. Again, it's just much easier for us. To stick with the 15s. They accomplish what we need it to accomplish. Now, because we do have some of our turrets back, as well as sensors to go with them, we could queue up another Aurora, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to queue it up, but we're not going to wait for it to be built to head out. It will join up with the fleet later. Currently, game estimates January 3rd of next year. Or, excuse me, not next year, but 2166. But realistically, we are looking at October of 2165 because this doesn't actually take into account used components. You need to actually queue it up before the game takes that into account. But okay, refits are done. Make sure you have nothing on you. That is in fact correct. Wonderful. Okay, Carrier Strike Group 1. Raise shields again. Make sure active sensors are up and operational. Let's get the fire controls ready, and you're not final defensive fire, you are area defense. Auto assign. Final defensive fire is accurate for you. Auto assign. Assign to fleet. Auto assign, assign to fleet. Auto assign, assign to fleet. Auto assign. One missile per target is more than sufficient. You do not benefit by firing 3 missiles per target. Okay, let's make our way back out. Omega Ceti, Geo Virginis, move to location. Do not move through the jump point, however. And that is a 20-day journey. We should probably realistically send Cargo Fleet 1 out to Mars to pick up all that Gaussite that's just kind of sitting there, because for some reason Mars just sucks at actually, you know, shipping stuff. And I don't know why. It does. So, you know, let's go ahead and grab all that. Yeah, it's 11,000 more Gaussite. Thank you very much, game. I will gladly take that off of you. Of course, Carrier Strike Group 1 continues to have engine problems because our engines are just, I don't know if we want to call them that bad or that good. Guess it's a matter of perspective, really. Jesus. And yeah, the frigates just do not have nearly enough maintenance supply points on them to be able to survive any significant penalties. And unfortunately, there's really nothing you can do. You know, I want that redundancy of 2 engines on our military vessels. And I want them to have decent speed, though admittedly these frigates are a bit over-engineered on the speed. Realistically, they should probably have their own unique engine, because they don't need to be 10,000 kilometers a second, because the slowest thing in the fleet is the carrier, which is only 8,855 kilometers a second. So realistically, this is what everything should be targeting. But I don't really want to design a different engine for every single ship in the fleet to target this speed. I just can't justify that additional expense, especially because it means when I do use the construction of components, that's a lot more components that I'm needing to juggle. Instead of being able to just say build 20 of these engines and just kind of leaving it there. But let's head through. Let's head through GL Virginis, and we're gonna immediately say make our way to waypoint 4. I don't know if there's enemy ships waiting for us on the other side. The enemies did not attempt to interfere when the salvage fleet was out here picking up everything it could, so hopefully they didn't decide to come through, and that would seem to be accurate because we did not immediately take fire. So in that case, I'm going to say go from waypoint 4 to waypoint 3. There we go. Gonna do smallish increments. Oh, also, which one was it that did finish the refit here? Oh, it was the Abnakis. Yeah, let's go ahead and get those the retooling. Let's go ahead and get those retooling done. Need to actually go down one. These will be done July. God damn, that's going to take a while, but it's mostly because it's engines. Why did we get a short increment? I don't know why we got such a short increment there. Okay. Remind me, it's GL Virginis 2, correct? Yes. Let's head to waypoint 1. Well, actually, yeah, we'll go to waypoint 1 and then waypoint 2. If I recall correctly, I think waypoint 2 was the waypoint we had to be at to be able to actually fire on them. Question will be if we can actually fire on them, however. Because the planet is unfortunately on the far side. I might need to yeah, I'm gonna have to move us just a little bit closer. Say about 10 million more kilometers closer. Okay, there we go. Now, do need to come into here and tell you that you have a target, assign to fleet, open fire all, assign to fleet, and then clear all targets. In theory, you should now be understanding that you are to fire on any salvos that come our way, and you are well within targeting range, so we should be capable of telling the Albany and the Astoria to find something to shoot at. So what's the biggest thing they got? We have, looks like 15 Chronors. Do we have any idea of what the Chronor is? No, we have zero clue. Okay. The only thing that we're picking up an EM signature from is the Thengo. So I think what we're going to want to do is probably destroy that first, if possible. Come on. There we go. Assign to fleet. Open fire fleet. Thank you. Okay, we have apparently determined that it has an ECM rating of 10. Don't know why we determined that now, but we did. That does not matter for our ability to shoot at it, however, because we more than cancel that out. So now we fire a salvo. Oh, yes. Annoyingly, yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you to ceasefire because you guys are just very annoying when you don't actually have a target to shoot at. We got a couple penetrating hits on the Thengor, or excuse me, the Thengo. Did not destroy it, however. Only 19 nuclear detonations. They counterfired. You guys are reloading. You have 300 seconds. God damn it. And the annoying thing is, if you guys are also set to fire, because you can't technically fire right now, you throw a fit. And I really do not like that. That is annoying. Couple more penetrating hits, but still no destruction. Pretty sure you guys have ordnance still, correct? No, you guys actually don't have ordnance anymore. Okay, yep. Let's get these guys out there. Join and add ordnance to fleet. Gonna have you guys, in that case, continue. We're not picking up a active on those guys anymore, however. Oh no, you guys actually do still have ordnance. Okay, never mind, never mind. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Not clear all targets, actually. That's not what I meant to do. Assign that to fleet. I just want everybody to cease fire. Okay. You guys open fire. You guys are also going to open fire. That'll give us a lot more ordnance being fired at them this time, and hopefully we will actually get a bit more of a successful penetration. Or, well, you know, damage, rather. Um, no hits this time, unfortunately. You guys are gonna be a bit about 2 weeks. Let's see, what do you guys have for capability of hitting this guy? Full range or max range, which is what I would expect. Tell you guys to open fire, and you're going to move to about 40 million kilometers, and then you're going to bounce. Actually, we'll do 45 million. And then you will... well, I don't actually want you to do it as a move. Do it as a... Or excuse me, don't do it as a follow. Do it as a move to location. And then from there, land. Question is going to be if you guys are actually going to correctly fire, because that was an issue that we had before. Okay, looks like you guys did. Whoops. Yep, everybody fired. Probably not going to be enough. To get anything. Yep, that would be correct. Theoretically, I could close. Theoretically, we could do that. Because the reality is, the biggest thing we need to deal with is their missiles. And from there, I think we're more or less set. We just need to take care of the missiles. But I think we also need much larger missile salvos. So we're going to wait for the ammo haulers to arrive. And then we can send out okay. Yeah, how much longer? About 10 more days. Shit. Charug popped up. It's not too big of an issue. Just kind of annoying. Don't really feel like dealing with it right now, but we kind of have to. Go ahead and deal with it. Could use the missiles because we do have two. We'll just round it and say 2,500 of the old Rim 846s. Let's go ahead and take care of these guys. I will admit that I am almost inclined to, use the missiles because we have them and there's not much else to really use them for, all things considered. Oh, also, do you guys have your shields up? Make sure that they are, yes. And I think we'll just leave it to these guys. They should be able to take care of it, no problem. Close the distance. Almost there. Couple of 5-second ticks. Probably could have done another 30 realistically. But just to be on the safe side. Yank down, engage the Tekka. Tekka down, engage the Charug. And close the distance further, because there's no reason not to. We do more damage the closer we are, and of course that also means we're more accurate, so close to... Whoops. 20,000 is fine. Secondary explosion, that was a big one too. Okay. Head back to Earth. Load ordnance, because apparently you guys actually don't have all your ordnance. Well, there's a couple potential possibilities for why that is the case, so let me double check that. Nope, I think it's just that you guys have not been actually refilled. Okay. That's easy enough to take care of. Do you guys have all your ordnance? You do, wonderful. Where's the ammo? 4 more days, let's head back out here. Okay, ammo arrived. Now it's just a question of whether or not they're actually gonna, supply their ammo now or not. I'm gonna go ahead and say no, they're not. See if removing your guys' stuff will actually get you to do it. Oh shit. They fired missiles at us. Area defense assigned to fleet, open fire. God damn it, game. Why is your open fire thing working like this now? I swear earlier, open fire fleet did not actually tell the entire fleet to open fire, and it would instead, apply to just the sub fleet. I don't know why, for some reason, it seems like it's not doing that anymore. are those? Subfleet, DDG. Yeah, target at a range, I know. Okay, there we go. Good, now question is, are you gonna actually fucking do the ordnance now, guys? Because that is the question. Well, of course you can't locate your designated missile target salvo because it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm still not seeing the ordnance guys doing their fucking job. No fucking clue how the hell this is supposed to work. As far as I know, you don't need an ordnance transfer system on both ships. But yeah, they don't seem to be reloading ordnance as far as I can tell. Yep. It's always fun when systems don't seem to actually function. Who has what? We have no clue who's firing the Okay, that is the last of our missiles that are intended for anti-ship capabilities. Unless, you know, our ammo transports decide to, you know, actually start doing their fucking job. Nuclear detonations, but no penetrations, which would indicate that they were shot down, which would in fact be the case. Well, actually, yeah, that would have to be the case. They got shot down by Gauss cannons or something. It's definitely not Sea Whizzes, because Sea Whizzes only protect the individual ship, so unless the Thengo is the one that has a Sea Whiz on it, that's definitely not the fucking case. But yep, we are out of ammo. Except for, you know, the, what is it? like 960 missiles that are sitting on Acton 001 and Acton 003, or excuse me, Accutan 001 and 003. We then have, you know, a little over 3,000, almost, well, not even really, a little over 3,000. We have almost 4,000 sitting on Accutan 002 for our anti-missile missiles. So the enemy has actually been fairly conservative with their missiles. They only fired the one salvo, which is weird to me. And I don't know, how far back is it? Did we... No, damn it, it's too far back. I can't find it now. I'm just kind of curious as to what size ones those were. I wasn't paying attention. Because that would allow me to tell if it was the Ninja that fired them, or if it was something else. Because we know they have a fair few Ninjars here, but they're all size 1 missiles, which would presumably be anti-missile missiles, but I can't really say that with certainty. But yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with our ships, where they just don't reload ordnance at all, apparently. Like, what's the deal there, game? Like they're not doing the thing that they're supposed to do. And again, as far as I can tell, you don't need an ordnance transfer system on both. So why do they not do what they're supposed to do? As far as I can tell, it is supposed to be automatic. You know, you put the coilers in the fleet, you set them to the correct, you know, option here. Load fleet ordnance, as far as I know, I believe is supposed to just load it to literally any ship in the fleet. While load like subfleet ordnance would do it for the specific subfleet that you set it to. And again, as far as I can tell, there was no indication that, you know, you need to have an ordnance transfer system on both ends. However, I believe that is actually the case when it comes to your fuel, well, excuse me, and I don't think that is actually required when it comes to like your fuel harvesters. I do have them like that because I need to be able to, when you build your ships, the game basically always max fuels them, even your fuel harvesters. So as a result, you need to be able to, you know, tell the game to empty out the fuel. So you need to have that fuel or that refueling system so that you can tell it to get rid of the fuel. You know, put it back on the planet because it doesn't actually need it. Otherwise, I wouldn't ever put a refueling system on a fuel harvesting station. Technically, these should actually be labeled as fuel harvesting stations. So let's get that corrected, actually. But yes, as I was saying, like that. Generally speaking, there's not a real reason to have the refueling system on a fuel harvesting station. It's just because you needed to get the fuel off initially. Because the game will, you know, actually give it fuel when you build it, even if it doesn't actually need it, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, we are running into issues because either the system doesn't actually function or the system is so poorly explained and documented as to how it functions that it results in issues with actual implementation of the concept. Again, as far as I know, you don't need an ordnance transfer station or system on both ends. As far as I know, you don't. And I'm pretty sure we tried it out before, but hey, you know, we can try it out again and see if maybe for some reason it's more successful this time because the ship designs are different. You know, they have a magazine now. That should not matter in the grand scheme of things. And you know what, game? I'll be nice. I'll be nice. You know what? We're gonna fly back. We're gonna fly back. We'll move out of the enemy's range so we don't have to deal with their ticks. You know, we're gonna fly out to waypoint 3. Oh, size 4 missiles are what they're firing, so something out there has a size 4 missile. Of course, fucking fire at will doesn't select, annoyingly, missile salvos. But here we go again. We're gonna fly out of the range, game. We'll fly out of the range. Pretty sure that our missiles won't reach all the way out to waypoint 3. And you know what? I'll be nice, game. We're gonna do a 30-day increment. That should be more than enough time for you to be capable of loading at least one missile onto one ship. In theory. We'll see if you do, but in theory, you should be capable of doing that within a 1-month period. Go and research that. Go ahead and research that. I have 3 labs left over. I can slap 2 of them into the turret tracking, and then I still have 1 lab left over. I don't know. Screw it. Maximum orbital mining diameter, sure. So game, did you do any ordnance loading? Oh hey, looks like you did. So do you actually need to have an ordnance transfer station on both ends? Because that's not well documented if that is the case. And if that is the case, I'm gonna say this. That shit should be fucking stated very clearly on the wiki. because nowhere is that mentioned. Nowhere is there any reason for me to believe that you need to have an ordnance transfer system on both ends. Now, I don't know if it's just because we did the 30-day increment. I really don't know. I mean, we reloaded the DDGs, which I didn't put one on, so I can only assume it is that the game was throwing a hissy fit because of, oh, the increment was too small to actually load the missiles. So, you know, there's no incremental progress. You either successfully load the missile in the increment in question or you don't. And if you don't, the game just kind of says, fuck you. And it's a waste of an increment, effectively. That's my guess as to how that works. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you don't need an ordnance transfer system on both, but the game is so picky that if you do not have, like, it cannot 50% load a missile. And so it will just basically say, well, I wasn't able to do it this time, so I'm just going to not do it at all. So it's looking like what we're going to have to do is fire a salvo, fly away, far away, all the way out to waypoint 3, because that's about the safest place we can get to be able to, you know, engage or, you know, be far enough away to where we're probably not going to have to be dealing with small increments where we effectively waste our time not being able to, you know, load a missile. And I realize the wiki, you know, mentions stuff about, you know, how loading missiles functions, but it doesn't really, in my opinion, do a great job of explaining it. You know, I don't read that and immediately think, okay, if I don't manage to completely load the missile, that it's effectively just going to treat it as if I never even tried. Because that's not the way I read it. It does not come across that way, in my opinion. But that is, in fact, actually what it means. Okay, more missiles fired at us. Luckily, we have way more AMMs than we have any hopeful expectation of needing to utilize. And hopefully this time, these guys get through. There we go. We destroyed the Thengo. Wonderful. No idea what's on the Thengo, and we'll figure it out later. But this is going to be a very, very slow engagement. So, okay, now we pick our next target. Who else has active sensors that we're picking up? Well, we're detecting the active sensors on the Rhinos, so I think we're going to go ahead and engage the Rhinos. Why are we engaging the stuff that has the actives going? The thought process is simply that those are probably the things detecting us. So let's destroy the things that are actively detecting us. I don't really mind if passives detect us because you can't fire your weapons at something that you only have a passive lock on. You need to have an active lock on. However, interestingly, the Rhinos are not showing up as an option here to engage. And I don't know why. Because we clearly detect them, as far as I can tell. Or are we not detecting them on... Are we not actually detecting them? Are we picking them up on passives? That's a... actually, I think that might be the case, yes. I think we might only be picking up the Renos on passives. Because everything else is showing a tonnage. Except the Renos. And everything else is in the list. Except the Renos. So the Renos we only have a passive on, apparently. I'd have to probably move into the resolution 14 range to get an active lock on them. Which we can do. I don't mind. What's the distance here? About 4 some odd. So we'll say move up 5. We'll just, we'll just make it 8. Just make it 8, it's fine. Waypoints. Move to waypoint 6. That'll take us not very long to get to. That will hopefully get us an active lock on the Renos. The absolute fucking metric ton of them that they have, apparently. Okay. We still don't have actives on all the Renos, but we do have most of them. Okay, let's see. What do we engage now? Well, let's see. What's the... I think we're going to go and probably want to engage the lighter-ish stuff first. For now. Heavier stuff we can probably take care of with a different strategy also. Yeah, I'm gonna need a shit ton more of these, so how about you just build me 2,000 more, eh? Those will be ready in 2 years. Okay, maybe we spend some research on ordnance production, because clearly we need more of it. Why do I not see oh, there it is. I'm like, why don't I see ordnance production as an option? Found why. Because it's in the missiles kinetics section. And Walter Engel is going to be our researcher for that. And, oh, well, that's going to be quite a while, but hey, it still helps. And you know what? We can also build ourselves some more ordnance factories. How many do we have right now? We have 600, and it's... yeah. Yeah, it's still going to be a while there. How about 100 more ordnance factories, eh? It only costs tritium, which we really don't have a problem getting. Well, that's not actually true. Where do we get tritium from, if we even get it from anywhere? Because we might not actually be getting it from anywhere. Yes, in fact, we are not actually getting tritium from anywhere, as far as I can tell, unless it's from the Lande. Nope, we do not have a source of tritium. Or excuse me, tritanium. Which, could potentially down the road pose a problem. Well, I've got 4 million of it here on Alpha Centauri B4 if I ever get around to actually frickin' colonizing it. We could. Got nothing better to do, really. Colony fleet. Well, first, Cargo Fleet 1, Earth, load installation, infrastructure. Load as much of it as you possibly can. Go to Alpha Centauri, B4, unload all installations, go back to Earth. Refuel, resupply. Repeat this 5 more times. Oops. Enjoy. Okay, now let's see. Gotta actually need to figure out what we want to engage. How about we engage the thing with the J name? And we basically need everybody to fire at it because there's not much hope. I think that's all of our missiles right now that we have loaded correct. So cease fire, and then once we've, connected with our missiles, we will break off and head down to... they had quite a bit more, it seems, that time. We did not manage to break through, unfortunately. Whoops. Waypoint 3 is where we want to go, because that is the one that works. Do an 8-hour increment as we run away. Do a 1-month increment so we can reload. This is the downside of the size missiles we're using. It should be noted, this is the downside of the ones that we're using. Waypoint 6. Well, actually, first things first. Where you guys are, detach your coilers, then move to waypoint 6. The coilers are going to head back to Earth. Realistically, I should probably give them an escort considering the issues we run into. Particularly in the FL Virginis system with raiders. But we don't have any escorts currently available unless I use one of the quick reaction forces, which I could do. You join as a subfleet there. Well, actually I don't have... You guys told to come back immediately, correct? Yes. So you know what? You... remove all. Just stay safe. Get to waypoint 6. Oops, don't want to do that. Okay, let's see. What else can we potentially try to fire on? So we weren't exactly successful there. Well, actually, one thing we could try... we could try this. that. All those missiles together could potentially be a bit more successful at breaking through. And the speeds aren't that different. So we might be a bit more successful. And at least getting some stuff through. The size 4 missiles will take the lead and be the first ones shot at, but hopefully will act good enough as decoys. Or not, but the size 8s are going to take it. There we go. We actually managed to get hit this time. Not too much in terms of damage. It's, well, 16 penetrating hits is actually probably not too bad for a ship that size. 20,000 tons? Yeah, it's probably okay. But now we have to wait for these guys to all finish re-arming, which is going to be a bit. Question of whether or not they're going to attempt to fire a salvo at us. In response, of course, if they do, we will have no problems avoiding it. How many of these do I have? Because I am legitimately thinking we might actually need to have one of these guys carrying those. July 27th. Don't know if that's this year or next year. Can't quite tell. Probably next year, however. Okay, everybody is ready to go. You guys are actually fully, yep, okay. Open fire, assigned to fleet. Open fire, assigned to fleet. Open fire, assigned to fleet. Might actually also consider building a 3rd cruiser. Okay, you guys are going to land again. Ceasefire. There we go. Destroyed 1 this time. But of course, we are now completely out of missiles. Yeah, part of our issue is going to be that, you know, we're not relying on like long-range particle beams and lasers and things. So when it comes to engaging the enemy, our best option to keep them at a distance is missiles. But this is a expensive and time-consuming process. You guys are another 16 days until you get to Earth, so we're going to go ahead and bring the fleet as well back to Earth. Fucking hey, a Tekka around Lande. Make sure that the coilers are not... Where are the coilers right now? They are still in Omega Ceti. So far enough with this guy's not going to be a threat. Wonderful. My timer went off a little while ago, so we'll go ahead and let this part run. We'll take care of this Tekka real quick, and then we will end this part. Could probably actually do a 20-minute increment a bit further back, but it's whatever. Okay, 5-second increments. There we go. Salvage fleet. Well, actually, you know what? We have refits that I want to have happen here with these guys. Salvage ships are going to get refitted. They won't be done until August of this year. That's fine. We have freighters that I want to get refitted. July of this year. That's okay. That'll speed them up. That's the main reason why I'm doing that, is to help them speed along a little. Now, in theory, if I re-equip our quick reaction forces with the new missiles instead of the old ones that they're currently running around with, we could use them as, you know, additional forces for launching larger salvos. Which, that's the main thing we need, is just to launch large salvos. You know, so long as we can get those large salvos launched, we will have absolutely zero problems taking care of the enemies outside of, well, you know, the missile costs, but that's its own thing. And somebody retired or died that was researching something. And I missed it. Because we suddenly have 30 labs free, and I don't think we finished a research anytime soon, so... Who died or retired? And that I missed. Oh no, we actually did finish researching something. 500,000 kilometer range particle beams. Because I am considering swapping out our STOs with those. And yes, okay, this guy does have the 30 labs, so yeah, okay, never mind. We did actually finish research on something. Let's get the ordnance production going a bit further. If I were to design a new well, not a new particle beam, but to design our first ever particle beam, question is, what do I go with? So Will you let me? Nope, you're not going to let me open up a second menu using that one. But if I do it here, there we go. This allows us to at least compare. So our current railguns are something to this effect. Excuse me, they're actually 25s, if I recall correctly, right? 25? Yeah, 25 V50 C5. So this is our current railguns on the left. This is a new particle beam on the right. Now, as a reminder, railguns do less damage the closer the enemy is to the max range, down to a minimum of 1 damage. Obviously, they do 0 damage outside of their max range. So our current ones are when the enemy is, I believe, for railguns, it is, well, I think most of these beam-based weapons, including railguns, even though they're technically not beams in the traditional sense, are you do max damage out to your range modifier. And then after that is when you start having damage drop off. So theoretically, we're only doing max damage of 5 per shot out to 50,000 kilometers. Anything past that, we do less damage. And the enemy tends to be not within that 50,000 kilometers. In fact, actually, here we go. I can probably show it off better if I do this. Let's just design a base, quote unquote. Slap this on there, show bands. You're going to make me actually slap a power plant on here, aren't you? And a beam fire control. There we go. Oh, actually, that's an interesting way to show it. So this seems to be indicating that we actually technically only do 5 damage out to 20,000 kilometers. That doesn't seem right. No, that's because this is a shitty beam fire control. Here's the best of the best. Here we go. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So yeah, 5 damage out to 50,000 kilometers. At 60,000, we do 4. 70 and 80 we do 3, and then 90 and 100,000 we do 2. Probably starting after 100,000 we start just doing 1 damage per shot. So yeah, it's not the greatest, really isn't. Particle beams, however, don't have damage drop off. They do their max damage out to their max range. They, of course, like all other things, do 0 damage beyond their max range. So theoretically, a particle beam 6, which is the same size as our current railgun that we're using, at 400 tons, although this is not taking into account the power requirements, so realistically it's probably actually going to be heavier in the grand scheme of things, would always do more damage than the railguns we currently have equipped, and it has twice the range. And because our tech has, of course, improved since, we designed those 25 centimeter railguns, we would be able to fire a shot every 10 seconds as opposed to every 15 seconds. These are quite a bit more expensive overall. You can see the costs. 96.8 for the railgun, 219 for the particle beam. Twice the duranium, uses corundium instead of neutronium, and twice the boronide. So these are significantly more expensive, but I think they would more than likely, in the grand scheme of things, be significantly more effective in terms of actually, dealing with enemies, especially when you add in the fact that, we're able to engage them further out, which makes them less likely to be able to fire on the colony, as well as just being able to, get more shots off before they close a distance. If they send like a fleet, we can do more damage to the fleet, particularly the, troop transports, so that they can't actually conquer the world. And then, of course, we can take care of the combat vessels afterwards, assuming that our STOs are still there. So I'm inclined to say we're going to want to do this. Now, when it comes to particle beams, particle lances just double the damage, make them more expensive, heavier, increase the power requirements. It does not increase range like lasers do. Lasers, when you spinal mount them, they get more range. So we could design ourselves a 20 centimeter, technically it would be a 30 centimeter, advanced spinal mount X-ray laser with a range of 1.68 million kilometers. Technically the enemies outrange us, but that's okay. And we could design a ship that has this, probably a couple of these. And it would probably help us deal with the enemies in GL Virginis and not be quite as expensive as the missiles. Because obviously with missiles you run into an issue. If the enemy intercepts all your missiles, you've done 0 damage. With this, we'd at least, in theory, be able to do some damage, not a lot, but something. And as far as we know, the enemy ships that are currently in orbit of their homeworld do not have the lasers. Or at least they don't have the laser that is, has the 1.86 or whatever it was million kilometer range. So we could do this, probably design a relatively cheap ship, and I might look into it. I don't know if we'll actually build it though, but I'll at least probably sketch out a base design. But the big thing I think right now is going to be at least getting the particle beam done. And because I want to save on weight, I want to keep it as close to our current one as our current STOs as possible. We're going to go with a strength of 6 instead of the strength 9 that we could technically do now. And we'll take advantage of the fact that it has a faster rate of fire now as well. So who do we want to have design this? Well, I don't think a company with kinetics in its name makes much sense for a particle beam. Pirogov Precision Arms, yes. And we're going to call this PB6 for short. It's, easier. Actually, we're going to call it the PB6 500K. C8. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it. It is the Pirogov Precision Arms PB6500K C8. Gives us all the information we need to know at a glance as to what the hell this thing is. And it's much better than the way the game designs it, because the game just refers to it as Particle Beam -6. It literally gives me no other information as to what the weapon system in question is. So let's prototype that. We'll actually, take care of that later. Well, I say take care of that later. We'll actually research it now. I didn't mean to prototype it, because that doesn't make much sense in this case. Research prototype. Go energy weapons. Get that done. That won't take very long. Again, not sure if we'll do a time skip next time, because I don't expect the fleet to hang around here much in the grand scheme of things. I think the plan is basically for it to come, rearm, refuel, or excuse me, resupply, refuel, load up ordnance again, and then head right back out. And just kind of rinse and repeat, knocking out 1 or 2 ships at a time. Hopefully, some engagements will have more. The reality is what'll happen is that, well, we got a couple of potential possibilities of how this plays out. One, as we deal with more enemies, they will have less and less point defense capabilities, which will make it easier for us to be able to do more and more damage each time. But 2, the enemy realizing that we have now attacked their homeworld again like that might decide to send their mobile ships out towards the jump point again, and we can have another fight there and destroy a bunch of their ships, and hopefully not take losses like we did the last time. The last 2 times, actually. If I recall correctly. Yes, that sounds correct. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully, I would like for them to do that. It would make it much easier to engage them, because we do a lot more damage when they're fighting us around the jump point, because we're not relying on the missiles as heavily. That's kind of the thing here, is that the missiles are okay. You know, they really hurt when they hit, but you need a fair few to hit, and also just being able to use our beams and railguns tends to do more damage. But we need to be able to close the distance and not get just absolutely nuked by overwhelming firepower. The enemy may not have good weapons necessarily, but they have more ships, particularly more ships with guns than ours. We've literally stripped all of the guns off of our guided missile our guided missile cruisers and our guided missile destroyers. Well, actually, the guided missile destroyers, I don't think ever had railguns on them, but the cruisers certainly did used to have a handful of railguns on them. Not anymore. The Graf Spee does not. The Graf Spee does not have any railguns, unlike the Albany. So this is pure missiles. It cannot fight close distance, or you know, in gun range. So it needs to have support, which has pros and cons, of course. So yeah, the hope is that next time, well, not necessarily next time, but you know, we're gonna start, you know, nicking away at the enemy's ships, and hopefully they fight us around the jump point, because we'll do much more damage to them that way. But I'll see you all next time. Quick reminder, if you want to stay up to date with the channel, my go-to place for posting channel updates is my Discord server. You can find a link to it down below in the description. If you want to stay up to date, or if you want to support the channel financially, the 2 major ways to do that are going to be Patreon or Streamlabs. Links to both of those are down in the description. Patreon if you want to support the channel on a monthly basis, and Streamlabs is better if you want to support the channel on a one-time basis, or, you know, just periodically support the channel. Maybe not necessarily one time, but, you know, maybe give $1 here, $5 there, just, you know, whenever you say, God, that was really good video, or whatever. But yeah, so I will see you all next time. Until then, glory to the Republic.